It was an extraordinary speech. The first part of it was full of grievances, and I think it was more off the cuff than planned, actually, that part of it, which was Donald Trump complaining about what he calls the fake news media, calling the media, this media, the enemy of the people.
You're listening to The Devil's Advocate, where we talk about news and current events. I'm your host, Mitchell Hernandez.
And I'm also your host, Brandon Condit. Our goal at The Devil's Advocate is to provoke thought by introducing viewpoints and information that isn't readily available in the mainstream media.
It's in truth a conversation where a conservative and independent like myself
And an independent liberal like myself can share different points of view without the typical disdain for one another that we see all too often in politics and in the media. So with that, let's get started.
It's not only not going to get better, it's going to get worse every day in the media. And here's why. But by the way, the internal logic makes sense. They're corporatist, globalist media that are adamantly opposed to an economic nationalist agenda like Donald Trump has.
All right, well, we're back after a week off. We're back at it, ready for battle. I have a feeling.
Just could be.
So anyway, one of the biggest stories of the week, one of the most recent ones, was obviously CPAC.
Right.
And some news to come out of that. So, what'd you think?
Well, obviously the big speech would probably be Donald Trump's speech. What was it, like 50 minutes or something like that?
45-minute campaign speech or something about how bad the media is and how we should only listen to the Fed when it comes to getting our news. Yeah,
he's going to be CPAC's always kind of like a campaign speech,
Yeah.
I think it was, and the crowd was extremely receptive, which is...
Stop chanting USA, guys. Like, stop doing it. It is...
All right, we're going to go to that one first because I actually have a problem with this whole chanting USA thing, even as a conservative and all of that.
It's
I don't have a problem with it. I'm not gonna do it.
I don't know. To me, like, it just puts a bad taste in my mouth. I don't know why. Like
it's just kind of weird. It's like no one else does this but us. And I get it. Like that's, as a conservative, I'm supposed to like jump in and go along with it. And
Well, if you don't, you're anti-American. So
that's the sentiment apparently. So, but I don't know. There's something weird about a bunch of grown men just being like USA, USA. Right. I'm just like, God, can we? I don't know. Can we stop?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
I feel like we hate the French for stuff like that.
But they were receptive. I mean, it was a good. I thought Donald Trump was on point. Do you
think he really got a standing ovation?
I saw the video, so he did get a standing ovation.
Well, I didn't know. He only pointed it out like 6 times in 6 minutes. So that's
part of his style, man. He's got the swag, swagger.
Yeah. I need some swag when I listen to him talk.
I think that I look at his speeches through the lens that you looked at Barack Obama's speeches with. Like when I see him speaking to a crowd.
But you're wrong.
So I don't think either of them are very good speech givers, but campaign.
Oh, I disagree with you wholeheartedly.
I know you do.
I think
I don't understand why.
I think that most people on your side would also disagree with you. Barack Obama was one of the most effective communicators.
Maybe for like from 2008 to 2009, and then every time I saw him, it was just. I think that.
No, you got those blinders on.
No, my blinders were off. I voted for him the first time around, but then he just stopped being able to talk. He did the events real well. He'd go up to dinner parties with Hollywood and whatnot and start talking, and he was funny and all that. But I think Donald Trump's funny too.
Yeah, I don't. But I don't know. One of the most interesting, other than Ted Cruz predicting the death of people, like the Zodiac killers out there, and like, hey,
trust me, we're gonna have a death in the family,
right? A death in the Supreme Court.
I mean, Ruth Bader Ginsburg's getting old, so
yeah, no,
like that's legit. It's just the way he said it.
I think she'll wait. I think
creepy.
She'll wait it out till impeachment. So, but. let's see. So obviously there was that statement. I don't really care about Ted Cruz. He's a weasel. So
I didn't even watch him.
yeah,
Honestly, I didn't.
no.
Like, there was enough going on in CPAC for me to not give a shit what Ted Cruz was saying.
Right.
He already got
So,
spanked by Reince Priebus
It was
into
weird
conforming.
though. But speaking of him, it was weird to see Reince Priebus and Steve Bannon like spoon each other
was
for
fake.
26 minutes.
It was. I don't think it's. I don't think. Okay, well, I won't say it's 100% fake, but these are two guys that
we
are
agree
very
that
different.
Reince
That's an
looks
alien
like
name.
a penis with hair. Like he does. The dude's like Kermit the Frog in a suit.
He's got the reverse fryer, where there's like this one weird saucery bald spot in the back of his.
I don't like that guy. But you know who I like him better than? Steve Bannon. So
I thought Bannon actually did a really good job in the segment. Like,
declaring his war on the media.
yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, to quote Rambo, they drew first blood.
Yeah, that's a good person we should look to when it comes to political policies.
He's just well, I don't know about political policies, but I don't think he's making any political policies. I mean, they're working together to kind of keep the thing moving.
To keep
but,
Breitbart's agenda moving
yeah,
forward.
yeah. Well, they won. You know, and his agenda does line up quite a
Donald
bit with
Trump
Donald Trump.
won.
Yeah, but you've got
Steve Bannon didn't.
I have an issue with the people who think that Bannon's running the show when I have zero evidence pointing towards that whatsoever.
Evidence like email evidence?
Like email evidence.
Okay.
So I'm just saying that, I mean, obviously he had influence during the whole travel
So then
ban
you
and
agree
whatnot.
that Hillary Clinton was totally innocent?
No way.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't
'Cause
even close to
I just
true.
figured based on evidence that
Well, I still remember quite a bit of evidence. Take your drink.
I'm gonna take my drink. I don't get to pop a top.
Drink your due.
I'm not that cool. Like,
Got many
so
more.
I don't know. I don't like Steve Bannon. I don't like when any party. I don't care if it's Democrats. I don't care if it's Republicans. When you call out the media as fake because they don't agree with you,
That's
because
not
they're
why
reporting
they're doing
on you.
that. No, and that's not even close to what it is. And we can get into the whole fake news bit in a different segment. But
When you have a week to prepare your
oh,
arguments.
I'm gonna have quite a few things going on that
That's
week. It's
fine.
gonna be a fun
I'm ready
week.
to go now, bro.
Yeah.
Um,
But I think that when it comes to, and we all saw it. Like I said, I was a avid CNN watcher until the election happened, and I immediately saw they've picked their side, and they
yeah,
they
all
played it
news
out.
stations are biased, and I don't agree that that's
there's
how
a-
they should be.
Right.
Um,
But that's the difference. They didn't used to be so biased, and then you're
but
seeing, and I
so
think we're
how is
seeing in the
that? So how's that
administration.
different than letting like One America or whatever news
Yeah.
station or Fox or Breitbart in like the White House has picked their side as well.
Mm-hmm. They have.
We're
yeah.
not going to let
I think
liberal
both sides
media
are acting,
in here.
Both sides are acting like children, and that's the thing. And they're not coming up to the plate. And CNN needs to do their job. Maybe start reporting the news and stop dedicating 7 hours a day on his
So
tweets.
then, is it fair to call Donald Trump out when he lies,
yeah, it is.
which he does all the time?
And Sean Spicer, yeah, he should probably resign. I mean, come on, he's a joke at this
He'll
point.
be fired before.
I don't think so. I think that they love
do.
him. I think they love him in the administration because he's just going out there and taking the heat.
With those leaks that came 2 weeks ago, there were a lot of people inside the administration. At least there were reports of a lot of people inside the administration.
This comes from a source,
that
a
doesn't.
reliable source.
That's a play. Don't buy into that.
What? They're
Listeners,
doing
don't
it
buy
constantly.
into that because all that is I don't agree with your opinion, so I'm
You
gonna
should
set
probably
it
cite
up
your
as fake.
sources.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I
Isn't
agree
that like
with you.
a cornerstone of journalism?
Should you cite your sources if your sources are like work for the CIA or work for the FBI?
Well, yeah,
should you go
that's
Chelsea
different.
Manning about it and
No, we
cite your
shouldn't
sources?
do Chelsea Manning, but then you don't run the story. If you don't have a solid news source and you're just leaking, there's other places to do that. You're a syndicated news network. You're CNN.
So
you're
if the-
presenting
so
the
if a
news.
CIA
so if you're reporting a rumor
If a
from
CIA
someone you can't cite, what the fuck? How is that journalistically
you
integrity?
no, you can't cite them because you can't cite them.
So don't
for
run the story.
safety. But you can't. You're telling me that somebody inside the CIA that sees the stuff that isn't
Mm-hmm.
operative isn't a reliable source.
There's other places to leak it. It shouldn't be on a syndicated news network because that's not news. That's a rumor.
That's
somebody,
journalism.
It's not journalism.
Do you-
Investigative journalism.
Do you watch House of Cards? Like,
Right.
have you seen this?
Right.
Like,
and remember when they got in trouble?
yeah,
People get
I mean,
slapped on the wrist for
people don't
irresponsible
typically,
reporting.
spoiler alert, get pushed in front of trains. But
So I mean, that's the thing is that if everyone, and I think this is a big issue with the Trump administration, is everyone who has made up for whatever reason they're more polarized on, and I think it would be the exact same if Hillary was in there. There'd be people who said, I just don't like her, and I'm going to do my job to a lesser degree just to shit all over her. And it's exactly what they're doing with Donald Trump. And journalistic integrity doesn't matter as much now because fuck Trump. That's their mindset. He's saying mean things about me, so I'm going to get all upset and do it. And then Donald Trump's going, well, you said mean things about me.
Donald Trump, your guy, changed the rules and decided it's fine to attack anybody that says anything about me.
Well, he was getting attacked.
So when he's getting crapped on, or when he's crapping on the media, shouldn't they just follow his same adage?
Well, they are doing
you're
that.
fighting us,
they
so
are
we'll
doing
fight
that.
you.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Okay.
But like
well,
I
you
said,
can't have it both ways.
They
You can't say what. And here's the thing: like, as far as the media goes, like, I'm not an overall defender of the media. I am a defender of freedom of press. I'm not
I don't remember them being shut down at all.
Oh, really? Not being invited into...
That's not being invited. That's not stopping them from doing whatever they want.
That's not giving them the information that
they
everybody
can look
else
it up on
was...
C-SPAN.
What?
They can look it up on C-SPAN. It's recorded.
Okay, that's fine. You understand the precedent that sets. Maybe Donald Trump didn't intend to be a fascist, but the next guy that gets elected that doesn't want the media there...
Right. Well,
you're
win.
You're setting a precedent now that
it's not the first time people have been barred from coming into it, and I'm not that. Now I am, like I said, I am playing devil's advocate here a little bit because I don't think that he should bar anyone from doing it, but at the same time, I'm not crying any tears because BuzzFeed can't come in there and just stop their shit.
BuzzFeed and CNN
They've already
are
got their
totally
shit.
different. Though.
They're really not anymore. They really aren't. CNN is not nearly as good as
that's bullcrap. That's a liberal calling you a racist.
No.
That's all it is. You're crying wolf. Oh, it's fake. It's fake.
Not.
It's fake.
It is fake.
You set a dangerous precedent that anytime I don't agree with you, it is fake.
No,
that's BS, and
fake.
that's a Republican play. No, it's not.
I'll bring up an example. During the election, I would show you. I'd say, hey, look at these polls. 3 of them, there'd be 6 polls. 3 of them have Donald Trump winning. 2 of them have them in a tie. And 1 from California has Clinton winning with 18 points or 12 points, whatever it was. Guess which one CNN ran every time? It was a swaying of the agenda. They would not fully report all of it, so they were messing up with the narrative.
So did you look at the Fox News polls that had Donald Trump winning in 3 of the 4? Okay, so call fake news fake news.
I did.
Okay, he didn't. He didn't. You and
I think you're missing my point. I think for some reason you are arguing for CNN instead of taking a step back and saying everyone's fucking up. Every single person in this situation is not doing it. And they are reporting fake news, and they are swaying their agenda. I think that's obvious.
I don't think they're reporting fake news. I think they're reporting a bias because that's what every news organization does. But so does Breitbart. So does the Washington Post. So does everybody that was allowed into that press briefing.
Not a couple actual good places.
I guarantee you that you can find editorial pieces.
Oh, there's always editorials, but that's what they are. They're editorials. They're separate from the news. They're not the narrative of the entire network.
But that's what every network is. Whether it's CNN or MSNBC or CBS or ABC or Fox News or Breitbart, the list goes on and on. They all have an agenda. So when you are saying that the liberal voice is not allowed in my press room, but the conservative voice is,
like I said,
you're suppressing the media.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think that's right. I don't think that he should do that. I understand why they're upset with CNN, and I understand why they're upset with BuzzFeed and all these other places.
And you understand why CNN is upset with them.
Yeah, I do, because, like I said, they're escalating it. Everyone is being childish in this. But CNN's journalistic integrity has been vastly depleted. They are no longer my source for news.
I don't disagree that they...
Another example, whenever that guy got shot, Philadelphia or something, and they showed the report of his sister talking about, quit burning our cities down. We need our stuff. All that. And the headline is, sister calls for peace. All that. And then they edit out the part where she goes, go to the suburbs. Burn that shit down.
Yeah.
It's fake. Is that fake news? Would you yourself, news reporting, think that they purposely edited it?
I won't call anything fake news. And here's why. Because fake news is
misguided
a very,
news.
very dangerous term. We have set a precedent now.
Fake news is the Inquirer.
Anyone who's not... Right.
Bad Boy doesn't exist. That's fake news.
That's fine. The Onion is fake news. It is actually fake news, but I think it's dangerous to just, because I think what happens for people who don't look into this stuff, that can't. There is something to be said, and I've used the argument with you for years over the phone in conversations about how the media is powerful, maybe more powerful than the government or the presidency. And the example that I've always cited is we remember you and I remember we wrote a song. Check out Good Morning's Facebook page.
Do it.
We wrote a
Sweet
song
tunes, bro.
about the 2012 primary season, right?
Yeah.
And
And it was fake news because we only did one side.
no. My point is, we remember very well how that went. We were very into.
It was a different season than
Okay.
we got this time.
Newt Gingrich had no chance in the world at anything throughout the entire primary season until South Carolina. He snapped back on one of
He had a snippy thing right at the beginning. They brought up his mom or something, and he
Right.
got pissed.
He got
and
pissed
standing
off.
ovation. Everyone was like, "Yeah."
Right. He like snapped at was it Romney and Christie or something?
It was one of the guys doing the interview for the debate.
That's right.
Like right off the bat, they came at him.
So for the next 2 days, that was on that debate was on a Friday and or a Saturday, and the primary was on Tuesday. For 3 days, the story was Newt Gingrich goes nuts, snaps back at this guy.
The polls. Have you seen the
and
polls?
Have you seen the polls? He's up in the polls. He's going to win South Carolina.
Right.
He won South Carolina. Not because of people like you and me that actually watch the stuff and formulate.
Right.
He won because the media
that's your
told
theory.
people that he was going to win,
Yeah.
and a person who is being.
But you have to respect the media for there be that influence. And like I said, I showed you that article I just sent you on your phone yesterday, where it shows CNN. All these ratings are dropping. People aren't, and then they had another poll that CNN even reported on that said people trust Donald Trump more than the news media. I don't think you can trust either of them.
No,
But I don't think you can trust the news media, and I think that everyone wants to think, oh, well, CNN's telling me this guy's full of shit, and they're not. There's a few people left that still trust them, but I think a lot of people were like me, took a step back and were like, you're full of shit. You're full of shit. You're full of shit.
Yeah, but I don't think the majority of people are. I think
so.
I don't.
I think those polls.
I don't. I think that
Do you
there
not
is-
believe the polls or what?
No, I think that there's like 20% of each side that can look at Donald Trump and be like, Donald Trump's full of shit.
If you're not coming to the fact that Donald Trump's full of shit with Sean Spicer, like, I'm sorry, he is full of shit.
So is CNN.
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but I think the majority of people I think fake news has become very easy to throw
You gotta
around.
remember, they're the ones that used it first on him. They brought him up saying that he's citing fake news.
He
citing
does
fake
cite
news.
fake
he
news
does. Indeed,
all
he
the
does.
time. Like,
right.
if
but they brought that term up, and then they continued to do it. Basically, he was using biased sources. They are a biased source. It's the same thing. So if you're calling one thing fake news, it's got to be called in the
I
other
don't think you
sense.
should call anything fake news. Call BS BS, but
Like
fake,
I said, well, I think we're in agreement that the National Enquirer and the Onion are real definition of fake news.
Right.
But let's be honest, they have, like I said, their integrity is gone. Like they've made up their mind. They're being childish, and that's why we saw CNN's ratings are dropping. Because I stopped watching them.
But I'm sorry, and I'm just gonna say, Republicans are so hypocritical that like
Why?
Because CNN's ratings are dropping because they're fake news. Fox News does exactly
Their
the
ratings have gone
same
up since
thing,
the election.
right? Fox News does exactly the
Right.
same thing, but because Republicans are always the victim and have to be.
I don't know
and
about
Democrats
that
have to be the
one.
adults in the room and pat you guys on the head and make sure you don't spit up all over the place. You can't see that the news station whose ratings went up is feeding you the same thing.
Of course they
that
are.
the other side.
I'm not
is.
saying that they're right, but I think that people
But sell your soul to win an election. That's all you have to do, because it's worth it. So
Yeah. Well, last time I checked, that's what both candidates were doing. That's basically the tried and true way to you win elections. And like I said, the other thing, transitioning back to CPAC and getting off fake news for a moment.
I told you I was going to take you there.
That's fine. I am going to do another segment as
Yeah,
well,
we
though,
will.
because this is going to continue.
It's obviously a passionate subject.
Right.
So
Yeah. And
no shortage of words there. But
right. But going back to it, like I was going to say about the chants that they were doing. Like you always saw the lock her up. That was a big one that they just continued to bring up to him every time. And I loved how he kept dodging it. Like he just wouldn't really acknowledge it. Well, that's the thing with Hillary too. During the whole election, she was selling her soul, doing all sorts of horrible things, and Yeah, they were calling lock her up, and then that was him selling his soul. Like, yeah, totally, we're gonna lock her up. Don't worry about it.
Right.
And then obviously that's fake. So there's things that people do that are fake either way.
Right. I mean, politics is politics.
Right.
But I have a problem with the semantics of fake news.
Stop coal.
I don't think that's not
No fossil fuels.
that doesn't do any good. It shouldn't be a hashtag.
Yeah, but that's like I said, you said it too. It's politics. That's the way that it's gonna go. Anyway, going back to CPAC though, I thought that he had a great speech. The big thing that I took out of it that was I was very excited for was more spending on the military, on offensive and defensive. Fuck yes.
Whatever.
Nah?
We've been there
Nah?
before, so that's fine. We'll just stay at war in the Middle East for another 15 years.
Like I said, that ain't gonna fix itself unless they actually start doing it. Like I said, Israel
it's
could
never going to fix itself because we destabilized the
Israel could
region with the
finish-
last Republican
yeah.
president, and
Israel
we
could
had-
finish Palestine. Like they don't, and so now there's perpetual war.
If Israel finishes Palestine, that will only create an issue between Israel and
Oh.
Iran and everyone
Yeah.
else surrounding.
Well,
like,
everybody has a stake in it now
Right.
because that's the whole globalism thing.
so yeah. Good luck. Good luck, BB.
But they could do it. I mean,
yeah,
I think we're
they
in
could.
agreement. Like they could just
Oh,
show
yeah.
up and be like, yeah, you know what,
Yeah,
we're about
they,
done with
they
this.
absolutely could, and then so could Egypt and Iran.
Right, and they could start the war.
Right.
We'll
So
see. Like I said,
let's see. Let's try to make
feel-
that play and see what happens.
I feel like that world war is coming. I feel like the entire world is primed for it. So I think that shoring up our military and defensively and offensively is a good idea. Allies, you might want to take that advice because
That's fine.
Your social spending ain't working for you.
That's fine. We'll see. Well, we already know how it goes. Like we saw it play out. You'll never not be at war in the Middle East because because the last Republican president decided to fight an idea.
Yeah.
So
well, I think that once we get rid of ISIS and whatnot, the thing is that someone's going to have to set up shop.
when we get
And
rid
we're
of
not gonna do
ISIS,
it.
Boko Haram will be the issue.
Right. That's
Hamas
why I'm saying
will be
someone
the issue.
big has to set up shop. If we go in there and we make this a part of us,
Well, I'm pretty sure your president's going to hand that responsibility to Russia.
well, Russia's volunteered for it. I think that was your past president that gave it to him by getting ourselves out of it. Yeah, that was a great idea.
No, it wasn't.
No, it
I
was
don't-
not.
I
That's
don't
a
disagree.
classic example of how trying to avoid war just leads to all these other wars because we have the most power. We still do. And
Right.
even though it's vastly diminished and we've given quite a bit to Russia, we still have the power. If we were to set up shop and say this is going to end, there's a good chance in my mind that it would end. But it would take lives. It would take people on the ground, boots on the ground, getting it done. And I don't know that
I think it's
the
really-
liberals definitely don't have the stomach for it at this point. They don't want to see that.
I think it's naive to think that a 2,000-year-old war, essentially, because when they're not fighting, like when we're not over there fighting, they're fighting themselves. Like a 2,000-year-old
Well, we
war.
exacerbated by messing with their damn borders and putting people who shouldn't be in the same state together, like restructuring everything.
Yeah.
So it's a
Mostly
mess.
Republican doing.
Well, I'm just saying, we'd have to go back and look at each president, but I don't know. I feel like both sides will do that. So
So yeah, I don't know. But the guy don't have a comment on what he had to say about military spending because I've seen it. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll get the same thing that we got through the early 2000s.
Right.
Just a
I think it's worth it.
bunch of money spent, and then we'll talk about how we should cut military wives off food stamps because they're moochers of the state. So
Mike Pence's speech at CPAC too, I thought went over really
I actually
well.
didn't see Mike Pence's speech.
He didn't say anything that, like, hey, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. No announcements, anything like that. But I thought that that was the first time I saw him be personable. Like he came out with a joke right at the beginning, and he was like, Donald Trump's known for being charismatic and all that, and I'm just kind of not. And they were all clapping. Yeah, I thought it was good. I also gotta say, man,
Mike Pence looks like a ventriloquist dummy, though, right?
he looks like Cotton from King of the Hill. Like he's
He
just walking
does.
around like, oh.
Yeah.
He's a little too establishment for me, but I gotta say, man, like seeing him, because we are from St. Louis, like that's where we're from.
Yeah, he shut down my whole city the other day, and
Did
it
he?
really sucked. I was out trying to work my other non-podcast
Get a
job.
job.
And yeah, like the whole university city was shut down, and I was just like,
Right.
dude, this is
Even still, though, because like I did vote for Trump and Pence, more for Trump than Pence. Like Trump, I wanted Newt Gingrich, but that's fine.
I would take Newt
Take old
Gingrich.
Newt. He's a historian. Like he
I would
knows
also
his shit.
take Newt Gingrich or Mike Pence or Satan over Donald Trump.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. But yeah, seeing them, and I didn't vote for what's our governor's name? Greitens. Yeah, I didn't vote for him. I can't remember what her name was, but I voted for the Libertarian candidate because I'll be honest, I didn't really look into the governorship people at all, really. And then but I went to their websites, and it was all bullshit for most of them. And then hers was the one that was like, "Here's my plan," and even I was like, "Damn, this might be too conservative for me." Like, well, she's got a plan, so I voted for her. But to see Mike Pence, who I did vote for, and Greitens, who I didn't vote for, and then the Muslim community coming out and helping pay what was $7,000, $8,000 to help the cemetery that got attacked, the Jewish cemetery. They knocked all the headstones down and everything, and it actually made national news. The only time that we get on the news is something racist or dumb. Like
the only issue I have with that news story, the whole news, not Mike Pence, but
he
like
didn't actually dig anything.
No, the actual cemetery story is that in St. Louis, and I'm calling you out, local media, no one got those numbers. Like, I still don't know how many headstones. It seems
like 100. They said.
Okay, so first they said dozens. Then they said 200.
Oh, God.
Then they said 100.
I heard 100.
Then they said 200 again. And I was like...
No one saw this guy?
Can you guys count? Like, it can't be... It's not that I've driven past that cemetery. It's big, but it's not too big to walk. Like, you shouldn't be having conflicting
plot. Like, it's in lines
reports
and shit. Like, go down the line.
Count,
it's a grid, dude.
That one pre-fell.
We don't know that. Fake news.
Yeah, so
I liked seeing it. Like, to me, that was something good that came out of. I don't know who did it. Like I said, I don't know who's. I know I've saw a couple of things like Trump administration fosters anti-Semitism. Like, are you fucking retarded? Look at this. Have you seen how much he's in with Netanyahu? Like, his daughter's Jewish, his son-in-law's Jewish. Like, they're the most pro-Israel, pro-Jewish administration.
For the one state, two state, one state, whatever makes everybody feel
whatever's
warm
gonna work,
and fuzzy,
and just finish it off.
Idiot.
I agreed with him on that one too.
You should, because he said both sides of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, but that was the first time.
Yeah, I'm for just giving people hugs and patting them on the back. Yeah, I bet everybody else is.
Well, he
too.
said I'm for whatever Israel wants
Jackass.
to do, and I think that gave them a little bit of power too.
Well, then I disagree. I'm not with whatever.
I know. I am.
I'm not. We'll go into.
We'll get into Israel at some point. But yeah, I like seeing that happen, like the community coming together, because we have a ton of Muslims in Afton and around there. And it's awesome. They've got their like an awesome. I can't remember where the mosque is. Revis Barracks or somewhere around there. Really awesome mosque. And to see them come out and raise $9,000, whatever it was.
Yeah.
See the vice president that I voted for. See the governor I didn't vote for, and everyone's helping.
That was really
helping
cool.
The Jewish community. I was like, this is fucking cool.
And I don't mind Mike Pence.
He's a little stiff.
But I mean, I don't dislike the guy. I feel so much more comfortable watching him talk than anyone else in the administration. So,
but it's the best administration. So good, probably in all of history. I don't know.
Yeah. We just went to Goldman Sachs and said you.
That's gonna be amazing. But yeah, I think that was my highlights for CPAC. I thought that was
well, and then
I felt real good about it, man. Like the whole, and I'm a conservative, so obviously it was supposed to make me feel good, and it did. Like I got done listening. I was like, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah,
it's our time. Let's do it.
I wasn't feeling the same way when I got done listening to it. One thing though that was interesting was another guy that was left out of CPAC.
I went to Catholic school, man, for a whole year. Cured me.
Well,
fixed me up good.
That's where you get your fine sense of right and wrong from. No, wait, let's not do that.
Well, right and wrong as far as what is right and what is wrong.
With you?
No, I got lucky. They beat me a little
bit.
What do
you mean you got lucky?
You
got unlucky. You didn't get that taste of... no, I said, just like I said earlier, if it weren't for Father Michael, I would have given far less good head.
So, quite clearly, if you're on social media, you've seen that Milo Yiannopoulos is back in the news.
Yay! Another segment about Milo.
You know you love it. Still, so basically what happened this time around, first I think that there's a little bit of a lead into it with what happened with Milo on Bill Maher's show. So there was obviously a big controversy. I can't remember who the guy was. It was some guest that was supposed to come on to the show.
Yeah, I don't.
And he made a
remember.
big deal. He was like, "I'm not going because Milo will be there," and so that was just hyped the whole thing up. And Milo was just riding high. And I watched some of the segment with it.
Is that why you wore all the pearls?
Are you judging him?
I am judging Milo, but not because of his sexuality.
Well, you brought the pearls. So yeah, but then Larry Whitmore was there. I thought he was a doofus. But that was like the big deal is that, he was riding high. He felt that he won. I just felt like he defended himself the whole time, was being, he was kind of being a dick to everybody.
I have realized in the 2 or 3 weeks since we last talked about Milo popping tops.
Popping the top.
That Milo is very, very easily disproved.
Do it.
Do
what you won't.
You don't have to
do what you won't.
You don't have to go far into it. I mean, look at what statistics he's not that he's not giving you. That's all you have to do.
That's all you have to do with any of them.
It's really easy to go oh well, based on A, B, and C, white culture is clearly better than not white culture.
Didn't say that.
He did say it, and
Didn't.
I will show. I will link to it.
Do it. I want to see it then.
He said it on Joe Rogan.
He said Christian culture, and I
both.
disagreed with him
He
on
said
that
both.
part.
But it's very easy to go, okay, well, B or D, E, and F also are factors.
We all know that Christian culture isn't better. Just look at the Inquisition and whatnot. Like, that was fucked.
Right.
Look at the pedophile scandal. That was fucked. He himself was, like I said, he was the victim of a priest touching him. So, and that obviously leads into why he got in trouble.
Right.
Is he
can't advocate pedophilia.
Well, yeah. See, that's the thing. I thought that a lot of the media misrepresented it. Like, it made it sound like he was the pedo. That's not the case. Like, he defended, and like they also said, George Takei said something very similar.
I don't think they made him sound like he was the pedo.
A couple of them did. They were like,
I think it made him sound like he was okay with it because of his experience,
and
which is what he said.
And he brought up the 13. He was 13 years old when it all happened,
right?
And so that showed, he's showing consent and all that, and he did do that, like,
right?
Yeah.
So
that's legit.
So but what's funny and what I thought was
it was misportrayed though.
What I thought was great about it was the fact that the majority of the comments online were on all these articles were, well, the left is so mad, they overreact. The left
would be fine.
This wasn't the left, and actually it was the conservative media that pointed out, like, look, if we're mad about Roman Polanski, we got to be mad about this too.
That's my argument for fake news and all that when everyone's doing it. Like, and he did do it. So he came out and he apologized for it. He's like, listen, I'm used to just saying whatever I want to say about different issues.
But it wasn't the left that reacted to this. It was CPAC, and it was his publisher that reacted to it.
Let's be honest. I read the previous statements by his publisher. They weren't standing by his side by any means. They wanted that fucking money, and it is money. Like, that book is a best. It was a bestseller on the pre-order and all that. So they were making money, but they came out and because they were getting attacked. Like, why are you publishing him?
Right.
And they were like, well, we don't actually agree with anything that he says, but, we think
which
that
is
we believe
understandable
because
he says a lot of crap. So
yeah, like I said, 50% I'm down with. 50% I think, goddamn, they're wrong.
He's got me on like 10%, and that's just because I get mad at irrational new feminism. So I'll agree with him on new feminism.
There's quite a few other things I agree with him on as well.
But I think mostly he's just full of crap.
Yeah. So obviously this was a huge deal because, he lost the book, dropped out. They said, we're not doing it anymore.
Right.
And then he was disinvited from CPAC. He was going to be the
And
big speaker.
he, air quote, resigned from Breitbart, which is really just like Steve Bannon's buddy calling him into the office and being like, look, we can do this two ways.
Yeah, like they needed to get the heat off, but I'm sure he got a very nice severance package, like, from resigning. I'm sure that
he
they
probably did.
I
mean, when you have real fake news network that likes his
he's doing. I think he said he's going to start focusing more on his tours and his entertainment. So he's
that's good. Burn down more colleges.
Hey, it ain't him doing it, man.
No, it's not. But they
burning
both
it down.
Well, and we said it before. Like, and I truly believe that
No, Trump.
they do it. They both feed off each other.
They do.
Milo
and he is
only
a
goes
troll.
to the colleges to get that reaction.
I don't think
and
so.
he gets that reaction, and then
he's good
another
at getting that
Republican
reaction.
can play the victim.
Yeah, I think he's good at getting that reaction, but I think that he's being a speaker. He knows he can make money off it. He can do things. That's no different than anybody else.
No, I mean that's Michael Moore's whole
His
career.
whole thing.
Yeah,
It's just these guys can't fucking handle it and go nuts and have to burn down their own shit. Just
well, it's
because
not like he doesn't say divisive things.
he does, but never. Me and you have watched many of his speeches, not speeches, but his little segments that he does, and he's respectful to the audience. He lets them talk. Mostly, he is gonna say "fuck your feelings" a lot. Like if they start saying "it hurts my feelings," he'll be like, "Okay, listen, thanks for coming out, but quite frankly, fuck your feelings." So he does that. He's a provocateur, of course. But in no way do you need to burn down your college because of it.
I agree with you.
And there was a bunch of people
Absolutely.
that were on the news that were like, "Yeah, we did it. We're taking him down," and all that. It's like, dude, you guys don't understand.
You're not
how this
taking
works.
him down. You're taking yourselves down. All
Right.
you're doing when you burn down your college is you're screwing over all
Right.
the students that weren't bad apples that now have UC Berkeley on their resume, and now every
Right.
employer is looking at that
And
going,
they can be
you guys
irrational.
burned down your school. Well,
Yeah.
you just screwed over all the good students,
And they
too.
don't have to hire you. They can be like that and be like, "No, I'm not going to
Yeah,
answer.
absolutely.
I'm not going to do his thing
Like,
because
that
that's who he
did-
is."
I had a friend bring that point up to me a couple days ago, and I was like, "That's a really interesting way of looking at it, which I hadn't thought
Right.
about before."
Because
Like,
that's economics, man. Like
UC
real-time
Berkeley
economics
hurts you now.
It's messy, and you don't know how people are going to react and what was going to happen. But maybe burning shit down. And
Yeah.
again, we've gone at length about how I think the left is conflated protest with riot at this point in time.
I think in some aspects. Now, what I will say to that point is I don't have a problem at all with Democrats holding up Republican town halls. Like Democrats are their constituents too,
Right.
And if they're mad and they have
manufactured.
questions, they want answers.
it's just the Tea Party. It's the same fucking
It is
thing.
this. It is the same thing as the Tea Party, but
I thought they were dumb, too.
I thought they were dumb too. I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with everything that the indivisible left is doing. What I will say though is I respect their right to do it. So
I mean, they have a right to do it, but at some point,
and I hope they keep doing it. Like I honestly,
trust
I
me, they
do
will.
because I hope that Democrats.
They won't stop.
I hope that Democrats really, really keep. And I don't think it'll be hard for them to keep this energy going. Every single
I think it
move
will.
that Donald Trump makes is a divisive one.
Not
Two
even
Democrats.
close.
Two
Yeah,
Democrats.
That's what's being reported. Now, the rest of the stuff he's doing doesn't get reported.
So
and I think that's good stuff.
So I don't think it'll be hard to keep that momentum going, but I hope they do stay pissed off into the midterms, and I hope that they take Congress back.
If they do, then we'll have to see what happens. But I really
because there
don't
is
think it's
literally
going to
no
happen.
balance in the government right now.
Right.
And we need that.
I don't think so. I don't think it in this part of hyper.
You don't think so because your ideology won.
No, I said the same thing. You know, I said the same thing during the election. I was like, I don't care if Hillary wins.
Yeah,
I want it to
give
be a
you that.
full
You did say
Democratic
that.
thing because I think that we're just too apart right now.
That's a bad place that we've gotten to.
That's where it's at. So if it's
Yeah,
going to
but-
be one person in power, let him have all the power so we can get one vision.
I don't
done.
like that.
It
I
just
don't-
happened to be my vision, so I was like, cool.
Well,
That
I
works
don't.
out.
I don't like that, and I wouldn't want that either. If the Democrats did take the only reason that I want Democrats to take back, preferably both houses, with a slight majority in the midterms,
You're just going
is
to get more green eggs and ham,
is
bro.
only because the Supreme Court and the presidency are now Republican controlled. So I'd like to see some balance.
Yeah.
I like the idea of compromise. I know it's old fashioned in 2017, but I like the idea of compromise.
I'm fine with compromise. I don't think it's going to happen. So I think that if that's the way that
it does,
it won't.
I get like the Ted Cruz's of
Yeah.
Congress set a precedent now
Yeah.
that we can literally read green eggs and ham instead of work.
And let's be honest, it's not the first time that's happened in American history. It's not. It's just the most recent and the most.
It's also the most polarized, though. Like, it is the most. I think the Congress is more separate now than they've ever been.
I don't know, man.
Like, even in
John Adams and Thomas Jefferson's day, like they were on pretty opposite
fine,
sides
but
of
like,
each other.
let's look more to like modern
And they were still
history.
friends.
Newt Gingrich and Bill Clinton didn't like each other, and those two branches of government didn't get
yeah.
along. But they still, at the end of the day, compromised.
Right, and they did, and they came together. Yeah, it was the worst thing in the world just to get a blowjob in the fucking Oval Office.
Right.
So obviously, those are different days.
Good for him. no,
I applaud
you. So I don't know. Milo, though, I think at the end of the day, Milo's going to be just fine.
Oh, hell yeah, he is. He's already got a new publisher. He's going to be focusing on...
But
he's going to get away from journalism and more into being an entertainer. That's where the money is anyway.
And he should be, because he's not.
He is.
He's not a journalist, and he's not. I think smart people should turn him off.
I don't think so. I think that the smart people will take a listen to what he's doing, because he is...
And realize that it's bullshit.
Well, they can make up their own mind on how much of it's bullshit. Like I said, I've looked at his data sets before and been like, okay, that's probably... I understand where you're coming from. I've just come to a different conclusion. But I think that it is thought-provoking, and I think that the liberals have that mindset where we'll just turn it off. You're not smart if you listen to it, so don't listen to it. And that's not the truth. That's not the case.
I think that smart people, though, what I mean by that is not that you're not smart if you listen to him. Smart people should listen to him and then turn it off, because don't continue to listen. Because look, Milo is Michael Moore. He is.
He's a conservative Michael Moore.
So
yeah, I see
Michael Moore can absolutely present you with a million different statistics and how John Ashcroft lost to a dead guy in Missouri.
Fahrenheit 9/11.
Right. He can present you all these statistics and say, look, this is why George W. Bush is the most evil president we've ever had. But the fact of the matter is, that's what Milo's presenting you to. Here's all these stats, and this is why white people are better than
I think there are people like me who don't want to get, obviously seeing what happened in this last election, where I saw a lot of liberals get stuck in their echo chambers and to their detriment.
Which
I
Republicans,
don't want to do that.
Here, let me help you out.
Republicans,
not you, Republicans, don't get stuck in your echo chamber, because I see it happening.
Well, I am trying to make sure it doesn't happen to people. I'm definitely not there. Like I said, when I'm watching, I won't watch CNN because CNN's bullshit. I was watching One America News, which is good from the very beginning of the day up until about halfway.
It's kind of how Fox
5
News
o'clock.
is too.
Yeah.
Fox, I won't comment on the channel because I'm not at home 3 in the morning, but I will comment on the radio. One thing, and I will continue to prop this guy up.
You listen to Fox Radio all the time. I don't even do that.
I listen to Fox Radio in St. Louis, so we got a few local guys in there. But I will say that Brian Kilmeade puts on a really good show. The dude is really good, and I don't mind.
Is he as good as that Rush Limbaugh character?
Even as somebody that, now, I will say, and I may have made the point before, I don't know if I did, but Glenn Beck used to be on in Brian Kilmeade's time slot. So when they took Glenn Beck off, almost anything would probably be a breath of fresh air. But Kilmeade does a really, really good job of holding both sides accountable and saying stuff about Donald Trump and the Democrats. And so
I've got Philip DeFranco. He holds everyone accountable, and that's
so I do like that. I also think Anderson Cooper is somebody that
he's the last one in CNN that still has his integrity. You can't make him. You can't take his integrity away.
I don't have a problem with Wolf Blitzer as much either. I haven't
He's
seen him on as much, but
even
Wolf
CNN
Blitzer
was there you go.
Blitzer to me is just the straight news guy. He says things goofy and he's just this is what happened today. Now here's somebody's opinion on it. But he himself is just a straight hey, some stuff's going down in LA. Here's a video. Now somebody else will talk about it. So I don't have as much problem with Blitzer. I think he's a goofball. Yeah. But Blitzer and Anderson Cooper, I think, are okay.
I think what you're doing too with listening to Fox News, and I've recently started turning on MSNBC now and again, and I didn't hate it. I didn't.
I can't. Do
well,
that.
Obviously, there's lots of it that did, but I thought that because they did a segment, and I thought
Chris
it was very
Matthews,
well.
sometime
it was Chris Matthews.
Sometime between high school and now, Chris Matthews found cocaine. My high school,
he just
not
dropped
his high
way
school.
too many hits of acid or something. He's seeing
that dude
colorful burst in front of him, and just
and every burst is that's racist. That's racist.
Someone said Barack Obama. Oh, a tingle in my leg.
Right. So I don't know. I kind of had to turn off MSNBC, and I should give them a chance.
I turned it off a long time ago, but I have come back to it every now and again just because I don't want to get stuck.
Right.
CNN's going to feed me bullshit. They're going to just talk about Trump's tweet for the next 7 hours, so I can't watch them because it's ridiculous. So I watched One America News, which is pretty good, but it does skew conservative once you get a little bit later. And I don't want just that. I want to see the social issues too and things like that need to be brought up. so that I'm not stuck sitting here going, well, I had no damn clue that was going on. That makes my side not look good, and I don't know about it.
I actually saw some stats earlier this week, and I'm only bringing this up because this is one that you like to throw under the bus a lot. But I didn't look into it for too long, so I'll preface it with that. I saw like some graphs and stuff, and I actually have to look into them more. And when I do, I will put all the links in the comment section. But I did see some stats that's at least stated that NPR had the most non-bias, and it showed percentages and it showed how it broke it down.
A CNN report, breaking news.
No. But it showed NBC and MSNBC and CNN and Fox and all this stuff throughout the 2016 election, and it showed that. At least it claims.
Please link to that down there so
I will.
I can destroy it.
And that's fine.
I may not.
I'm
not
claiming
NPR
that
fan.
as my truth. All I'm saying is that I saw something that said that. So we'll look more into it, and then if I have to fix that later, that's fine. But
NPR, man, they just. I think I have a bigger issue. I have a big issue with the organization themselves, but I have a bigger issue with the people who listen to them and comment on social media, because
I just don't like their feel-good stories. That's my only issue.
I actually like the feel-good stories. I like feeling good. That ain't no big deal to me.
I don't. And it's not because I'm a jerk. It's because
You're a fucking jerk.
It's because I don't know Pedro in El Salvador. So his
yeah.
commute to work isn't really on my radar screen.
And Trump has ruined his commute. We're all Pedro. We're all one Pedro. No, it's bullshit. I hate that aspect of it, but I like the feel-good, articles and things that they do. My problem is that anything, literally anything involving Trump, majority angry faces, there are people on there. And I think that if you are an NPR listener, at least the people that I have come into contact with, and whenever I was an NPR listener, I felt that I was a little bit above the regular caliber of news fans.
Just because
I felt that I was
hipsters
informed.
listen to it doesn't mean.
Well, it's more than just hipsters. They take that as sacrosanct. That's the truth. It's unmovable. It's unchangeable. Whatever they say, absolutely. And they skew it so hard left.
Yeah.
That it irritates the hell out of me.
I don't know, because I don't really listen to NPR anymore. I used to listen to it a lot, daily.
Right.
And it's not that I prefer Fox Radio over NPR. It's that I don't prefer the calming tones of NPR. Like, those guys...
Wait, don't tell me.
No, I do like Wait, Don't Tell Me.
Oh, God, it's horrible.
I like... I do like...
Those are the people that are sitting there gently stroking it to their Chardonnay, like, I am more intelligent than my friends.
No,
I knew it.
I don't think so.
Wait, don't tell me.
I think Wait, Don't Tell Me has awesome guests most of the time, and I think that they...
I'm Morocco.
I like...
Morocco. What's his
I don't
name?
know. I just think
What's
that's a
his
funny
name?
show. I'm down with like game shows that are trivia, pop culture trivia. Those are good.
I'm all about that. Yeah, that's fine. I just don't like the air of arrogance that I feel every time I listen to NPR.
It's just a Republican being victimized again.
We need to shut it down. I'm a victim. Shut it all down.
So I don't know. I guess that's pretty much it on Milo.
Yeah, I mean that's what he's doing. I think he's gonna be fine. Like I think we both agree that nothing's gonna happen.
He'll be
to him.
fine, but I'm not.
He's got people.
I'm not sad. Like, I'm actually kind of glad that what happened because it forced Republicans to be like, oh wait, we need to hold ourselves accountable sometimes for the people that we stand behind.
Right.
I think while UC Berkeley was burning down and Milo shot to the top news story, it's easy for CPAC to be like, let's jump on that. But like, oh wait, he says some dumb shit too.
And I think that's what he realized too, where he's like, I'm gonna just start presenting myself as an entertainer so that I can get away with a lot more shit.
That's because that's what he is.
Right.
So
he is. I mean, that's a huge portion of it. But he's saying ideas, and I think that.
But now I don't have a problem with you comparing him to Jon Stewart, because if you're presenting yourself as a comedian, you're like, it's not Jon Stewart's job.
But you don't have a problem with CNN
to be an intellectual. But if that's what Milo was presenting himself as, then it's not your job to be funny.
Right.
Be smart
Honestly,
be a smartass.
I don't care. I don't care one ever which way. I think that anybody,
I get hung up on semantics.
I think I think a comedian can have political views that are just and valid.
Just
and
don't say them, right?
No,
Oscar
say them.
watcher.
Who cares? Go for it. I'm going to watch the Oscars tonight. Guess what they're going to be saying? A bunch of anti-Trump stuff.
And then tomorrow morning you're gonna be like, "Ugh, Meryl Streep, punch her in the face."
I'll say that she's dumb because she says something stupid, but I don't care that she's saying it. Like I'm not one of those people that thinks that Colin Kaepernick needs to get thrown into the abyss of the sun or something because he's sitting down. Like, let him do it. It's a protest.
Right.
But he's got the right to do it. They've got the right to say whatever they want.
Right.
I can disagree with it and call them dumb as shit. I probably will.
I disagree, but that doesn't mean that
I actually don't disagree with the Colin Kaepernick.
But that
thing,
doesn't mean that
out
Meryl Streep or Colin Kaepernick are lying to you.
Well, it kind of does, depending on what they say.
No,
they
it just
very
means
much
that they
lie.
disagree. That's their perspective. People are allowed to have differences of
Perspectives
opinion
are fine, but if
without
you present
being
something
without
as a
lying.
fact, if you say something that's untruthful, it is in fact a lie.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, so there's that.
All right. No, that's fine. I agree with
they
you
can
on
say
that.
it, but if they're lying, we're
But
gonna
both
say you're a liar.
sides do that, and we
Yeah.
shouldn't just assign it to one side.
They do,
especially,
and I definitely do not. Like I said.
especially when that one side is the media, and that is a very dangerous precedent.
But the media
to set.
is doing quite a few of these things, and we have to hold them accountable as well.
on all sides.
All sides are doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
But, well, there's a few that aren't.
So
Rutgers
then-
is good.
So then when Donald Trump
Associated Press
leaves
is
Breitbart
good.
and Fox News off that list, we can both agree that they should be on that list.
Well, like I said, I will be playing devil's advocate on that point because I understand why he would want to do it. I just think everyone's acting childish, and I don't think that he should do it. But he's got the right to. It's not like he's ruining their careers. He's not stopping them from doing their agenda. He's just saying, guess what? Fuck you. You can't come in. So, that's what he can do.
Red flags, man.
Yeah, red flags. I know it's
Giant
the worst thing in the world. Oh, my God.
Communist red flags.
That civil war is going to happen right now, apparently, because CNN can't come into a newsroom. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, we'll see.
Not over that. It's not as bad as...
That's fair.
You look at what's happening in Germany. You look at what's happening last night in Sweden. Sweden. Who would believe this? Sweden. They took in large numbers. They're having problems like they never thought possible.
Obviously, last night in Sweden.
Have you seen? Right. You see what happened in Sweden? So context to the big controversy around it. Donald Trump doing his awesome tour around USA.
Yeah, somebody didn't tell him he won the
Campaign
presidency.
2.0 apparently.
Right.
Yeah, he's got about 3 more years until that starts.
So real quick, before obviously we just played the clip of what he said, so we'll get into that.
Yep.
But what do you think of that before we get into what he said about Sweden? Like just the fact, like campaign 2.0.
Oh, campaign?
Not necessary, right?
Yeah,
We can
but
both
everyone
agree
else
on
has
that.
done it. Like Obama did the same thing. He went on a little tour around it and was all excited, talking to people.
But when he did it, he said things
said
about
things he liked.
well, when he did it though, what he was talking about, like the content was very different. It was about what he was gonna do.
I think that that's what Donald Trump
about
does.
Hillary Clinton. Like why?
Yeah, well, he does bring, and that's part of his showmanship. So he brings that up. I think he still does.
I don't need the apprentice.
Yeah,
guy
you don't.
running
That's
the
fine.
country.
But you had your chance to vote, so that's how that played out. But I don't mind him doing it because, like I said, other presidents have done it, and he has his own style, and you don't like his style, but that's what he's gonna do, and he does say things that he's gonna do. One being in this comment that he just made about what happened in Sweden, but that was the controversy is that he said that word, and that's kind of the whole thing I talk about with the media narrative, where they focused on last night. The rest of everything that he said didn't matter because he said last night in Sweden. And at that point, nothing had happened last night in Sweden. There had been things that happened in the past. And
what he meant to say was last night I was watching Fox and Fox said
that is what he
this
meant.
is what's going on in Sweden.
What was,
here's the issue.
Who was the guy that he watched?
I don't know if I said this before either. Poppin' Tops. I didn't know if I may have said it before, but I know I've said it to you before. But
I don't remember that.
I have an issue whether it's Barack Obama not knowing anything that's going on in the government unless the news tells him, or Donald Trump. Like, don't cite Fox News.
He does though. He likes watching the thing. I'm sure he's getting briefings as well and
that's
doing
because
that
he
whole
likes
thing.
to hear how great he is.
Yeah. Or how they're skewing everything on the other networks. And obviously Fox does skew it. But that was the issue I had, is that, he did say that last night. And I think that, and what he had meant, as you just said, was he watched this thing on it last night, which was talking about the crime that's been happening and some issues that they've had. Right. And we see this with quite a few of these other countries.
Fast forward 24 hours and Sweden's burning down. And so...
he's just predict the future, man.
Which he caused it.
He caused it. Number one search.
Done it.
You caused it.
You know his people were on the phone.
He had Russia come in too. It was crazy.
Oh man! But what really happened there was like some Russian soldier came in and kicked somebody in the balls. Like, Viva Donald Trump!
Take this.
I don't know why they're speaking Spanish in Russia.
Right. But there was an actual riot, and apparently what went down is they showed up to a city that is, as reported that we saw, 90% foreign, not Swedish nationalists or nationals. And
you like those nationalists?
Yeah. No, I don't. But yeah, so apparently this is a predominantly foreign city, and the cops showed up to arrest someone on a drug-related issue. And they were met with rocks and a few other things, and obviously it snowballed. Eventually a cop discharged his weapon. Conflicting reports. The Young Turks said that he was trying to shoot the guy, but it was just reported as he missed, and it was reported as a warning shot. Other sources that we watched reported it as a warning shot. So who knows what really happened.
Right.
Unless they find the video what happened.
All I can really say about it is the same thing I would say when it happens in the United States, which it does. I mean, because based on the facts, like cops show up to arrest somebody, and other people get mad, and it just it's a
little bit different than Ferguson. Like they killed someone, so
I wasn't gonna cite Ferguson because I overwhelmingly stated like I wasn't on the side of the police state when that was happening either. Here. So
I rarely am. So,
but what I will say is that as far as
don't throw rocks at cops who are arresting someone.
It's kind of the same thing. I don't agree with that overreaction in any case. Whether you're burning down UC Berkeley or whether you're throwing stuff at cops, like I don't think. There's a way to protest things, and it plays into, especially if you're part of a community that has an issue with rhetoric that's being spoken about your community.
Literally the night before.
I'm not saying that like, because somebody is an idiot, now I should change how I act, but
they might not even know, man, because it's American politics. They might not have access to it in Sweden. It's a predominantly foreign sector, so they probably don't even know what we're saying.
But either way, it does play into.
See, here's my thing. How many times does it have to play into it before it's the actual narrative? Like, how many times do you say, well, it just plays into what they're saying until maybe what they're saying is what's actually happening? In your mind, how many times do you have to see it until...
Well, it would actually have to be happening here. It did there.
Right.
We've already discussed what's different between America
that was the comments,
and the
though. The comments were not about here. They were about what happened in Sweden.
Right, yeah. Well, at the time they were made, nothing happened in Sweden. So, it's kind of...
Things that happened before. The problem is he used last night. And like I said, that was taken out of context, and it was his fault. He didn't...
But it's also what you're doing, and what your side is doing is going, well, he was actually talking about
we have to do that a lot with...
He was
No, we didn't say the future. We were talking about the past.
He said last night, but he actually meant tomorrow.
We were talking about things that happened in the past that were reported on last night in a segment he watched. So that's his fault for not clarifying.
Right, it is. Yeah. And so, but it doesn't...
We have to do that a lot when you're defending Donald Trump. It's like, this is what he really meant.
Going back to my theme that I really want to talk about, and we're going to get a huge segment on next week, is you can't call it fake news when CNN says, he said last night in Sweden. Yeah. He said last night in Sweden.
He did. Absolutely he did.
It's not fake news then.
No, it wasn't fake news. And that part was not fake news. Did I think that they... focused on that one word to the detriment of the actual story? Yeah, they did.
I agree.
And they seem to do that quite a bit. So that kind of, like I said, that brings into the integrity of the news station, which I think is lacking, to say the least. So, but that, like I said, he was the one who didn't clarify it. But people like me, who I do watch what's going on in Germany, in France, in Denmark, in Sweden, in all of these other countries, and it's the same story in all of them. There's a reason that Europe is conservative right now, and if they aren't, they're going to have elections that will make them, that will solidify them.
We'll see.
I'm pretty sure.
I wouldn't
like
just,
Greece was like the one that didn't. I think
I wouldn't. I would think that it might trend that way, but I will
they're
wait
getting
to see
attacked.
before.
They're having problems because they
before I
did these exact same policies, all of these open border policies, bring in the refugees, and what Donald Trump went on to say, which they didn't focus on because they were too busy looking at last night, was he was talking about creating safe zones within Syria so they don't have to immigrate. They can stay in their own country. We'll protect them until the threat is gone. He said, and he didn't just say that's what we should do like he did in the campaign trail. He said that's what we are going to do. And I got really damn excited about that.
Yeah, and that's fine for people, but like consider
who doesn't want to do that?
Well, I mean,
what is your argument for not going into Syria and creating a space?
I think Republicans tend to look very hard at economic factors when they're talking about social programs and not so much on military spending. Like it's easy to just throw money at that and not care where it's coming from. But if you're creating safe zones, you are now expanding around the globe, and that takes money, and that takes personnel.
It will,
and that also
that's why we typically like to get something out of it.
That
they
takes
said,
resources.
They said, George W. Bush can't get the oil. We're not getting the oil.
It's nice to say we're going to expand on this board of risk that is the world, but the fact of the matter is that A, is going to cost money, B, may not be sustainable, and C, tell me where you're getting the money. Because what Republicans would like to do in most circumstances is say, we'll just cut social programs like food stamps. Okay, that's fine, but if Republicans step back for a second and take a look at who the number one recipient of food stamps is, who is it? Military wives. And so you're hurting your own cause.
Those people, and that's not the Republican chant. It's not let's cut food stamps. That's people who are
I don't
not
hear
in
Democrats
the government.
Chanting
you
it.
hear Republicans in our everyday lives saying that, and I think it's just because they're uninformed and they don't understand that that's not a big portion. People in Congress know that that's not a big portion of the budget, and they're the ones that are in charge of the budget.
Right.
So you're going to hear Republicans outside that want to do that. The same thing. You hear them constantly talk about. Drug test everyone for social benefits, completely ignoring just how much money that would cost, the manpower of testing them. It's totally infeasible.
Right.
But for whatever reason, so obviously that's why they're not doing it. The Republican Congress isn't doing it, but other Republicans, say that they want to do it.
Yeah.
So.
So, all right. Well, I think we can both agree that maybe don't throw rocks at police.
But there is things going on in the world, and I think that we need to be more mindful of it and not focus on the one goddamn word and maybe look at the broader picture.
Yeah, I don't disagree that we shouldn't focus so heavily on like this
and go
those
save
semantics.
Spaces.
Like I do think semantics can be important, but I think when it comes to that,
they know what they're doing though. They know what they're doing.
But at the same time, it's nice and it's cool and it's very Milo-y to cite all those statistics about this is what's going on in Europe. That in countries that don't have 3-year vetting policies and an ocean.
So well, shit, if they had their way, they wouldn't want to do it either. They said, like what Hillary Clinton said, I want to bring in, 1 million refugees or something. I want to have total open borders.
Basically, what they're saying is they want the system that we have right now.
Yeah, like I said, that's fine. I understand we have
it's
an
a successful
system.
one.
Yeah, I understand that's good, but I think that the Democratic Party would erode it, and I think that the Republican Party wants to strengthen it.
We'll see.
Anyway, moving on to the next one was Sean Spicer pissing me off.
We can agree on that before we even talk about it.
So apparently, and this was something that was trending on Facebook. That's how I came across it. It said Sean Spicer. I was like, what the hell did this guy do now? So I hovered over it, and it says that he brought up that they might start cracking down on legal marijuana throughout, Colorado and these other states.
The party let the states decide.
Yeah, exactly. That's not a Republican stance, bro. Sorry, but they can make up their own decisions on this. I understand that you want to no one believes it's a Schedule I substance.
No, not at all.
There's not a damn person on this earth who has a logical working mind.
And all you're really doing is you're losing out on economic benefits. Like
right.
Colorado's made $100 million.
I think it was over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that one, but I'm pretty sure that it went over $1 billion.
They've made tons of money in tax revenue. And
medical's huge. Obviously, for whatever reason, we've just got it stuck in our society that weed doesn't have any benefits. And there are some...
It has huge benefits.
It does have huge benefits. And there's things that are negative about them, too. I'm one of those people where I can't smoke that much. If I do, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. And I sit there, it's real great if I want to chill out and watch a movie. I can't. I know other people that can smoke all day, and they'll be like, no big deal. I can finish everything that I want.
Right.
So I think you need to approach it in that sense on a personal level. So
yeah,
but there's medical reasons, cancer and other things like that.
Well, and
substitute for pain pills.
That's
a big one.
My big issue, and the way that I always argue it is just purely economic, because Republicans don't.
That's a good way to do it, because the Republicans hey, dumbass, you're going to be making money,
right? You could be making tons and tons of money. There are multiple industries that can rest on the back of marijuana, and
let's be honest, dude, everyone wants to smoke, so all they have to do is be like, I really don't want to take these pills.
Well,
maybe I can just smoke.
And it's BS anyway, because look, I would think probably that weed is less of an inhibitor than alcohol is.
Big time. I think everyone agrees on that.
Yeah. So
apparently they don't. I don't know. It's Sessions. Sessions is the guy that apparently is really cracking down on this, and we know that from Donald Trump's.
That's just such an old, crusty Republican.
He looks like that guy from Hannibal or whatever, the guy who gets his face eaten by the pigs. And then, every time I see him, I just think of the pig-faced dude.
I don't know. That really bothered me when I saw
being petty.
it.
Tom Petty.
I think that I don't remember when he came out and said that. I can't remember if I was just off work after the baby or if I was still in the hospital. But I remember seeing that and being like,
"What the fuck are you doing?
What are you doing? This is."
I don't think Donald Trump cares. I think that this is something where he kind of does, because he does have that very straight edge.
Because he's a coke guy.
No. If you believe his stories, his brother died. He was an addict, and that very much affected Donald Trump. He doesn't drink any alcohol. He doesn't
marijuana
smoke
addict.
Anything. I don't know what he was doing. I think he was an alcoholic. But he talks about that at length, where he always tells his kids, don't do any substance. So it goes in line with his personal story. I still don't think he gives a shit.
Yeah.
I think this is just, what's his name? Old pig-faced man.
Jeff Sessions.
Jeff Sessions. I think that he's the one who's against it.
I don't know. It seems
just
like
why, man.
It seems like such a petty thing to go after, especially after all the
got health
strides.
It's making money.
Well, yeah. And
what else can you want?
We call it a movement because that's what it is, right? It's still in that stage. It's not an industry yet. It's becoming more accepted, but it's made so many strides in the right. In the right position.
Hey, these millennials can start getting into business because of it.
Right. You don't have to cut your hair.
This is amazing. Sandals all day, sweet.
Right. So I don't know. That bothered me a lot. So
big time.
We'll
I think
keep monitoring that, but
I can't imagine that it's going to change, though. I really don't. I
hope not.
There's just Colorado. The governor is going to sit him down and be like, "Hey, guy, listen.
My
this needs to be
thought
happening."
is that that's probably a bluff to the Republican base.
Although, to be honest, I really haven't done much research into the economic benefits. I mean, they tell me that it is, and I don't look into it. So I say, yeah, I guess so. But I haven't really dug through the numbers or anything. You know, I'm assuming it is. I can't imagine why it wouldn't.
Well, I mean, it's just logically, it doesn't make sense. You're introducing stores. You're introducing products.
Yeah.
You can make clothes from this.
Bro.
You can make paper from this. There's so many.
That's the one I don't get is the hemp industry. That seems like it would be easily
oils
fixing all of
creams
these.
And
you can start growing the trees back, and I saw this one statistic somewhere that said that it was an acre of trees that are used to make paper or whatever, wood, everything, is equal to 4 acres of the hemp. So you could just make so much more with hemp, and you can continuously regrow it. You don't got to wait all this time.
And it doesn't break down. It's really hard.
George Washington grew hemp and weed.
Right.
There's nothing more American than George Washington.
Right. I don't know.
Case closed.
Yeah.
Fuck off, Sessions.
Right. Sean Spicer.
Why even drop that? I'm hoping that he was just playing
I hope he was too.
The secret agent was hey guys, they're gonna steal your weed. Just don't let them do it.
Yeah. It just doesn't. It doesn't.
Come on,
make
bud.
sense. So anyway.
Yeah.
And then of course the last thing I think is what did they do? I know they LGBT.
They rescinded the what was it? Loretta Lynch, the last Attorney General.
Loretta, not Coretta. Just for the record.
Coretta's a fake name. But, no,
that's what happens when you catch stuff in editing, guys. Oh my God, I said that 7 times in 7 minutes.
Let me tell you.
That's great.
Hey, at least if anyone doesn't know, Brandon said the wrong name, but he corrected himself. So good on you for doing that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so the last Attorney General apparently under Obama made some, the whole bathroom bill incident, and basically made it a federal thing. You remember the whole thing? I can't remember what state it was. It was South Carolina, something like that, where the whole thing started.
Yeah.
And then I almost said Bush. Obama administration came out and said,
"Oh my God, don't be one of those guys." Oh my God.
Bummer, bro.
That's annoying.
I saw the smile smash.
That's
Like,
beneath
I'm not
you.
getting
Let
away
me
with
be
it.
disingenuous for a second. You're better than that.
No way. I've been calling him a bummer for years. Anyway, his administration came out and basically tried to make some sort of protection, saying like they can choose which bathroom that they want to go into, and it's discrimination if you don't do it in schools, public schools. So the Trump administration said, yeah, we're getting rid of that. And they just tossed it aside.
Which, their argument for getting rid of it was...
This is the whole pedo argument. You know, like someone's going to be in there like,
was that actually the administration's position on it?
I don't remember them giving
because
a position, it's just kind of a conservative
Donald
thing
Trump
that people
himself has said, I don't care. Like, I don't care. That's
we
not
all
my
remember
issue.
that with,
yeah.
What's her name?
Caitlyn Jenner.
Caitlyn Jenner. Use whatever bathroom you want in the Trump
Peeing
Tower.
all over Trump Tower.
They had a video.
Trust me, it's in the upcoming dossier.
Waterworks Part 2. But yeah, it's like he let her come in there and she did her whole thing, and you know it was a big publicity. I thought it was a publicity stunt, if more than anything. Like, hey, look,
yeah,
you can do
it seemed
and we
like
know
that.
I get upset with people who look at Trump's administration and go, it's anti-LGBT, and it's not. Like I said, he's the first Republican to stand up at the convention and say, I want to stand up for LGBT rights, and got a standing ovation.
Yeah,
during
I don't. I'm not one of
convention.
those. I'm not one of those.
And he said, it's so great to hear Republicans cheer for me for this. So it is a little bit weird that that's his position, but now they've taken it back.
Yeah,
you know?
And that is because of, in my opinion,
is it Bannon? President Bannon?
I do think it's Bannon.
Oh, come on.
And here's why. I think they're preparing for re-election, and so
it's a long way out.
Yeah, it is, but. That's politics.
Yeah.
They are planning now, and especially with somebody like Bannon.
You
don't think
almost
Bannon's planning re-election?
Oh, of course he is. So yeah, I might.
He said
that.
at CPAC 8 years. Like they already mentioned re-election. So Democrats
said 5
take
years
this
during the State of the
stupid
Union.
Congress back and impeach this guy.
Ain't gonna happen. But yeah, so I don't know. When it comes to the bathroom bill whole thing, I don't know who decided to get into his mind and say that. I don't know if it was Bannon or if it wasn't. When it comes to it, I'm going to be honest. I do think it's a state issue. I think that we don't need a federal thing with it. Like, and we've talked about it before, and my argument was not that because you see some people who are transgender and they look like a woman. But they're really a man. But they really look like a woman.
Which, like, I won't...
Don't make them go into the men's room because you know that there's people.
I
are gonna
won't
get weird
touch
about
that
it.
because, like, I'm not going to touch that.
Bad. We got a
because
segment
I'm
on
not I'm not going to comment on. Well, if you're attractive enough, then maybe okay. But
yeah,
it's
not about attractiveness. It's about what gender do you look.
My thing, and like my feeling on it is, I think there's a lot of gray areas with it, and that's where I have
Luckily, it's 0.0.
I don't know that I'm
of the population.
I don't. First of all, I'll agree that it's a state issue. I don't think it needs to be a federal law. I think the states can decide for themselves.
Do you think that they are stepping on? Do you think the Trump administration has stepped on LGBT rights, Q plus whatever it is, by doing this? Have they stepped on their basic human rights, as conjectured by basically every news organization?
Okay, so I will say short answer no, but
oh my god!
Here's what I'll back that up with. I think that by saying that it's a state's decision, it's a state decision versus a federal decision. That doesn't step on their rights. If they had said you can't go into the bathroom and made that a federal law, that I think would be stepping on their rights. Okay. And I think that if the states say you can't go in,
that's a good answer, man.
That's stepping on their rights.
Some bases.
So I don't think that by saying it's a state's issue that the Trump administration did anything. But I think
it's just the governorships and them that are racist.
Well, but I do think that it's still up in the air as to what happens with it. So
the thing is that, and Trump has gone on the record saying, like, listen, the population of transsexuals and whatnot is so low that it's never really even an issue.
I just think the thing that we've always talked about, and the point I've always made, kind of half jokingly, is that I think like it's silly, and I would understand both sides of like feeling comfortable versus feeling uncomfortable. If somebody like me who has a big beard and like
a Muslim,
just like, because I don't actually have to be transgender with a law like that. I don't actually have to feel or identify with anything other than being Brandon, and I can just be like, well, today I feel like being a woman. So, and all I'm saying is I don't think it would be a huge problem, like, in the country, but I do see, like, if high school Brandon was able to be like, I feel like a lady, I'm going into the locker room today.
High school Mitch and Brandon would totally do that.
Yeah.
We would be like, we're just going to do it as a prank.
Be like,
one day.
wait, so I can basically see what I saw in Porky's without the wall in the way? Okay.
I'm showing up.
And I'm just saying, like, that's
how kids think.
That's what a heterosexual dude who has just been handed away an obvious loophole is going to act.
Surprisingly, we're not hearing that.
We're
not hearing that that's actually
That doesn't
happening.
mean that kid is bad, and it doesn't mean that it also doesn't
well, if the
mean
name's Brandon,
it also doesn't mean that he's right for doing that. That's a stupid thing. If I wanted to do that, like I'm saying, that
kids do dumb shit.
Right.
That's like the adage of children for
saying
ever.
like the gray area is something
There's a
I
lot of
would have
gray
taken
area.
advantage of.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of gray area.
I don't feel comfortable saying that I'm for it
So
or
where's-
against it, but I will say that I don't think by saying it's a state issue that it tramples rights. But I think it's still up in the air.
I think it cuts both ways. Where if you're a heterosexual person or cis-identifying person, and you decide that your whole day has been ruined because you saw what looks to be a girl in the boys' bathroom, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Same thing with the transsexuals or whatever they are, transgendered people. Where, if you come in and you're like, well, I look like a woman, but
I can see issues.
It doesn't
where,
ruin your day,
like,
man.
Let's take the high school locker room out of it and put maybe a YMCA or a gym locker room.
Well, they're saying I just heard.
I can see an issue where somebody. I can understand the fear of somebody who is like, man, what if a pervert goes in there? Like, I get that argument.
I don't get that one as much, actually.
But I also think, too, that you have to make some kind of accommodation.
I think that, when it comes to the majority, like, you can say they're wrong. I don't think they are, but the majority of the population has a right to kind of be weirded out with someone who looks like different sex in the bathroom.
Now,
it's a personal thing.
I would say personally, to me, like, I don't care.
I don't care.
I don't care who I poop next to.
I'm not pooping next to anybody. If
right.
you're in there, I'm just not going to take a shit. I'll wait. I'll wait 20 minutes and then come back.
Yeah. So I don't like it. Wouldn't
going to bother me.
Like, the whole unisex bathroom idea has
they say
never
it doesn't
bothered
work
me
because
personally.
They said that. I heard a story about a high school girl. I don't know what that means now, but whatever. It was a girl, I guess. So either she was I'm a real biological girl. Damn it, you caught it. I didn't want to. I meant biological or a transitioned female. I'm all tripped up. But yeah, I guess she was using the teacher bathroom. Like they met her there and was like, here you go, you can have that. And she said that the teachers were giving her weird looks and that the kids would make fun of her for going into. There's like kids are fucked. They're gonna make fun of anything,
right?
So I don't think you can totally protect. Now, are they more savage these days with the internet than they were? Because when we were kids, we got called ding dongs and poop heads. And
I got called names. Like, my last name made it easy.
I got called racist names, but I didn't care because they were dumb.
But the thing was, without social media, I was able to go home and not deal with it for the next 8 hours until I was back at school the next morning. Now I think it is a little bit more savage because I think it doesn't really go away. Like, you can go home and it can continue online.
Let me get on Facebook, and all of a sudden everyone's like, "Hey, dick, asshole."
I don't. But I'm a big
we need
advocate.
Social programs to help kids work out so they can just beat the shit out of everybody.
I'm a big advocate of kids not being on social media sites.
Well, I don't. I don't let.
Like,
I don't. I mean, Soph's pushing 9 years old, and I don't let her on.
I don't think that I will probably.
She's on YouTube, but it's. You know what I mean? It's
like,
not
I know I'm like a
personalized,
week into
like that.
being a parent, so I can't really talk too much. But like, I can't imagine me being like. And I'm hoping that in 15 years that social media is vastly different and not as popular
there's no way.
anymore. But because I could see
it'll be in our brains and planted in there.
I
and
could
we'll be
see,
like, I'm
I could
surfing
see
the web.
society like going back the other way and being like, what's cool? Not being totally
maybe the
like,
Martians when we fucking
having,
settle Mars and they're like, we don't have a good signal.
Not having
Fuck this.
every moment recorded, like that seems cooler. Being off the grid seems cooler.
Yeah.
I don't need a GPS on my phone.
That's only hippies that do that.
Go
up to Fairfield, you want to be off the
people.
grid.
Everybody's wearing like a tinfoil hat and stuff, but I can't imagine that. Like, I'll want my son to have a social media account until he's about 14 or 15.
Yeah.
Like high school, maybe. But even there, like, I wouldn't want him to. I just wouldn't. I don't know that I'll stop him.
You can't, really. I mean, shit,
No.
we did it.
Right.
Like,
So-
there ain't no stopping teenagers.
And we found way worse stuff. So
Definitely
to do
did.
before social media.
Right.
So
that's when the internet was free, and I took that shit for granted.
You're right.
I went everywhere.
So
Anyway, when it comes down to the topic, I suppose, of, you know, the bathroom bill, I don't know. I don't think, I'm kind of with you. I don't think that Trump administration did anything wrong. I don't think that the Obama administration did anything wrong. I think they both come at it from a different way.
From a different perspective.
But it should probably just go to the states. If there's enough
Yeah.
people that vote for it, go for it. you
Yeah.
know? And I think that you're full of shit when you compare it to how black people couldn't drink out of the water fountains. I don't think it's the same thing.
No, I don't.
I don't like to compare anything to the, you know, systematic racism of an entire race
I
throughout
don't.
of our.
I agree with you on
you
that.
know?
I don't think that. I don't
It's
know.
a bathroom, guys. Like, just look at it for what it is.
And it's not. And I hope it's not coming off as insensitive, because I'm not. I'm not.
We're super
trying to be-
sensitive, dude.
I'm not trying to be insensitive to LGBT community.
No, but you can have an opinion.
But yeah, I mean, I just think it's. I don't know. I don't think they've done anything wrong yet. So, like, that doesn't mean it's not open.
And let's be honest, I don't think that this is even an issue. I don't think that it's not really being reported.
No.
So,
and when it is, I don't.
if it went the other way, if they kept the Obama rules, I'd be still fine with it. I wouldn't even care one way or the other.
Right. Now,
You
I
know?
do think, though, again, like, the only way that this gets, when it becomes an issue, it would be more of a you can't go. Once they start telling people where they can't go,
then that's an issue.
But, you know, like,
That's the same with the press. Once they start saying you're shut down,
right, you're different than us, so yada yada yada.
Right.
Like, I have an issue
that's
with
true
that.
oppression.
But as of right now, yeah, I'm okay with the states doing that. So
I think so too. All right. Well, that pretty much wraps up the discussion this week.
don't forget to leave us a like and be sure to subscribe for all of our latest content.
Of course, links to the topics discussed are listed down below. Be sure to comment. Let us know how wrong you think we are, especially me.
Yeah, we will respond. We'll yell at you too.
Right. All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
And now we'll leave you with this week's alternative fact.
Right, so I want to start with President Trump's tweet on Friday afternoon. This is what he wrote. The fake news media, failing New York Times, NBC News, ABC, CBS, CNN, is not my enemy. It is the enemy of the American people.